So you want magic, but gods aren't really your thing? You don't want to sell your soul yet. And let's face it, wizard college tuition?
It's too damn hot.
Then let me introduce you to the Artificer. These trade school wizards are half-casters that used to be campaign exclusive to the Eberron setting. However, thanks to Toss's Cauldron and everything, that's been fixed as now they can be used in any campaign. As an Artificer, you're one of the few classes that focuses on intelligence, so make sure that's your highest stat, as not only is it for your spell casting, but most of your class features rely on it. Additionally, you are proficient with Thieves' Tools, Tinker's Tools, and one tool set of your choice. Along with that, you gain proficiency with Light Armor, Medium Armor, and Shields. Now, unlike your Ranger and Paladin cousins, you don't have a martial proficiency. However, you have two things they don't. Firstly,
this is my boomstick!
yep, you're the America class, as you have proficiency with firearms. However, with the new 2024 rules, this isn't really the case anymore, as they're just considered martial or simple weapons and not their own thing. However, while these are praying to RNGesus and pinching every copper piece they find just to get a magic item, you're just able to make magic items
For free!
Starting off at level 1, you gain Magical Tinkering. This allows you to do some helpful and fun party tricks by enchanting small trinkets to either display 25 words or less, project a hologram, or play 6 seconds of an annoying song just to get under that dragon's skin. You know you've wanted to do that. Here's your sign. Go do it. And DM, I give you permission. Use this on your players. Now, level 2 is where the fun really starts coming in, as you gain the ability of Magical Infusion. This allows you to turn mundane items into actual magic ones that you can either share or turn into your own personal dragon horde. For example, you can turn the fighter's weapon into a +1 version. You can make it so the ranger never has to worry about ammo again, as their bow now just creates its own. Or just create a ring that lets you say, "How about no?" whenever you fail a concentration check. And you gain more options the further you go in the Artificer level. And hey, none of it match your vibe? You can always just choose to replicate magic item. As it says on the box, you get to recreate any magic item. And let's face it, we've all seen the UA. We all know we've been choosing that. Now, if you're new to D&D and never really dealt with an Artificer before, you're probably thinking this is very broken. However, the infusions do have their own limitations, as you're limited by the infusions you know and the infusions you can have active. At level 2, you only know 4 infusions, can have 2 active infusions at any time. Level 6, you know 6 in total, however you can only have 3 active. At level 10, you know 8 and can only have 4. At level 14, you know 10, but can only have 5. And finally, at level 18, you know 12 and can only have 6 active infusions at a time. Now, in the case that you make more infusions than you're able to, it just means the oldest one gets deactivated. Now, at level 3, they gain the ability to make any set of tool they may need if they have an hour, and be considered proficient in those tools they make. At level 6, they have expertise in all tools they're considered proficient in. At level 7, they unlock the power of as they can use a reaction to add their intelligence modifier to any ally's ability check or saving throw that they make within 30 feet of them. At level 10, they can tune up to 4 magic items, and crafting uncommon items takes half the time and cost to make, if you want to do it the old school way. At level 11, you can store up to a 1st or 2nd level spell into an item, letting the wielder of the item cast it a number of times equal to double your intelligence modifier. At level 14, you can tune up to 5 magic items. On top of that, you're able to attune to any magic item, regardless of the requirements. At level 18, you can attune up to 6 magic items. And finally, at level 20, your capstone ability is you gain a +1 bonus to all saving throws for each magic item you're attuned to. And if you were ever to drop to 0 hit points, you can use your reaction to sacrifice an active infusion to pop back at 1 hit point.
Okay, nope. Sorry, this is my video now. Hey everyone, I'm Miss Irish Frost, but today's not about me. I want to talk about my amazing friend from the Outcast Guild, Geeks Dungeon. If you don't know them, the Outcast Guild makes beginner-friendly D&D content and has a live play podcast where you can find me every Saturday. Last year, Geeks planned a tipathon to replace his ancient PC after he found it harder to make some content. But when my family hit some hard times, he redirected the fundraiser to help us instead. Now it's our turn to give back, to finally get the new PC. The goal is $2,000 with some wild stretch goals along the way. Every $1 adds 2 minutes to his stream timer. As for the incentives, $300, no coffee for the rest of the stream. Yes, for the coffeeholic, the $600 truth or drink where we're learning way too much about geeks. $1,100, we bake our Hear Me Out cake live on stream. $1,300, he's getting puppeteered while playing Baldur's Gate 3. $2,000, the man's waxing his legs. I think that's enough said. But if we really pop off, $2,200, Geeks reacts to his old content that he's been making for the last 9 years. Guys, his content's as old as his computer. What a better way to celebrate replacing it than look at the last 9 years of content. And I get to put it in the video for him. Oh god, this is gonna be great. $2,500, not only will he release hard copies of his book, but he'll also recreate one of his ancient, painfully cringy videos too. So June 26th, be there, donate, laugh, cry, possibly scream. Let's help Geeks finally upgrade and maybe suffer just a little.
Now, for the subclasses, your options are fairly limited. However, each one builds off the foundation of being the Tinkerer, and brings it to an interesting level of specialization. Starting off with the oldest of the Artificer classes, the Alchemist. This one is sort of your healing support, without feeling forced to, Life Cleric, as this class focuses on being an Alchemist first, and Healer second. The main ability for this class is known as Experimental Elixir, which allows you to quickly craft a potion that can either regain hit points, put the drinker under the effects of Bless, give a +1 bonus to the armor class, increase your movement speed by 10 feet, give you a fly speed, or just allow him to be Clayface. And you gain a free elixir after a long rest, or if you want to, you can spend an action to burn a spell slot in order to create the desired elixir. And as you gain more levels, you'll get additional elixirs during a long rest, and the elixirs will even give temporary hit points for those who drink the potions. Now on top of this, you're given some solid healing spells in the form of Cure Wounds, Greater Restoration, and Heal, but if you're looking for damage, you're in luck because you also get access to Acid Arrow, Flaming Sphere, Blight, and Cloud. At level 5, you can add your intelligence modifier to any healing you do, along with any damage you deal that is either fire, poison, acid, or necrotic damage. At level 9, you always have lesser restoration prepared and can cast it a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier for free. And the capstone for this subclass not only gives you access to a 5th level spell 3 levels before you gain 5th level spell slot in the form of Greater Restoration, but also gives you a 6th level spell in the form of Heal. Mind you, Artificers are half casters.
3, 2, 1.
The Battlesmith, one of the martial options for the Artificer. This class gives you proficiency with martial weapons and an extra attack. Along with that, you get to be like Jimmy Neutron as you get a of a Steel Defender you can command as a bonus action. However, something that makes this class stand out from other martial options is that while wielding a magic weapon, you can fight like Captain America as you use your intelligence in place of strength or dexterity with the weapon, as you fight with trigonometry. As for spells, this class gives you some great combat options with Shield, Branding Smite, Conjure Barrage, and Banishing Smite, And at higher levels, you gain a version of a Paladin Smite, which allows you to deal 2d6 force damage, or choose to heal someone by 2d6 hit points whenever you take the attack action on your turn. The Armorer. This is for those who want to be fantasy Iron Man. As you gain proficiency with heavy armor, you ignore all requirements for armor, and any suit of armor you are wearing is considered a magical set, meaning that they cannot be removed unless you want it to be removed. They will replace any missing or damaged limbs, and can be donned or doffed as a bonus action. And on top of that, the armor can take one of two forms. If stealth is for you, but you also want it to be in plate armor, the Infiltrator is perfect. This model not only removes any stealth disadvantage armor may already have, also gives you advantage at the same time. Additionally, you gain an additional 5 feet of movement speed. For the true Iron Man feel, you gain a Repulsor Blast that deals 1d6 lightning damage, and has a range of 90 feet normal, and 300 feet long. Additionally, if the target has already been hit by your Repulsor Blast, you can increase the damage by 1d6. However, this is only once per turn. And at higher levels, the armor gets upgraded, dealing 2d6 lightning damage with the Repulsor. Additionally, any targets hit by the Repulsor have disadvantage on attack rolls made against you, and attacks against them are made with advantage until the start of your next turn. Now, if you're like me and you want someone with the fist of a monk, but the attitude of a barbarian, then you'll love the Guardian model. This model comes with a pair of Thunder Gauntlets that count as simple weapons and allow you to use your intelligence in place of strength when hitting someone with them. Additionally, they deal 1d8 thunder damage on a hit, and they give disadvantage on attack rolls not made against you until the start of your next turn. Additionally, as a bonus action, you can always give yourself temporary hit points equal to your Artificer level, and at higher levels, the Gauntlet's damage is increased to 2d8 thunder damage, and as a reaction, you can pull someone 20 feet towards you when they end their turn within 30 feet of you. And look, if the creature gets within melee range, well, you can also make an attack roll against them. Now on top of that, the armor comes with its own special spells, along with an extra attack at level 5, but let's face it, the base stuff is already amazing as is. And finally, the Artilerist. It's a thing. Okay, while I know this is a very much liked subclass for the Artificer, and a solid one from a mechanics perspective, personally, I'm not a real fan of this class. It seems to go against the core feeling of all the other subclasses, as there isn't that much of the Tinkerer mindset in it. However, let's cover it. The Artilerist is for those who want to bring the boom. This subclass is all about overwhelming firepower. At level 3, you gain the ability to create an Eldritch Cannon, a magical turret that can be summoned in one of 3 forms, either a flamethrower that sprays a 15-foot cone of fire, dealing 2d8 fire damage to every creature in the area, forcing them to make a dex save or take half as much damage on a success, a Force Ballista that allows you to do a ranged attack, dealing 2d8 force damage and pushing a target back 5 feet on a hit, or the Protector, which creates a shield that gives 2d8 plus your intelligence modifier and temporary hit points to all allies within 10 feet of you. At level 9, the cannon's damage is increased by 1d8, and if the heat is too hot, you can always choose to hit the nuke button. And finally, at level 15, your cannons give you half cover, and you can have 2 out at a time. So what can I say about the Artificer that not many others have said before? This is a class that focuses on the future of your world. The idea of adding an Artificer into a D&D world, in my mind, is the same advancement as introducing the printing press. These things here help advance a D&D world and make you think about what's going to happen to your world 20, 30, maybe even 100 years later after the party has taken down the big bad. Additionally, Artificers bring up a very interesting story element as we start to question what is the Artificer and how dangerous or helpful can they be to a world? Think about this, a whole campaign where the nobles want to take down every Artificer that doesn't align with the king because they're afraid of the power that they can give to the common folk. Or a bunch of Artificers have band together to usurp the nobility. However, their actions have caused pain and suffering to those that they said they fight for. But again, this is what makes this class so interesting, in my opinion. But I can understand why certain people may not want them at their table. But what I will say is this, to any DM who is on the fence about adding an Artificer into their game, or even just thinking about having Artificers at a table at all, don't ask yourself, is this overpowered? Rather ask yourself, is your world ready for the change the Artificer brings?